Hey there, everybody. Good morning. It's Saturday. I know, right? Saturday morning, the 21st of March. We have some good news for the daily briefing this morning, so grab a cup of coffee and stay tuned.
This is 7 Minutes in the Morning, where 5 days a week you get tips and hacks dedicated to helping business owners and leaders just like you find and break through the one thing that is preventing your success. And now, here's the host of 7 Minutes in the Morning and your results coach, Thom Rigsby.
Hey there, everybody. Good morning. My name is Thom Rigsby, and this is a special daily briefing edition of 7 Minutes in the Morning. Get a little bit more coffee going there. If this is your first time joining, welcome. I'm glad that you are here. I hope some of the information we're able to disseminate today will be helpful to you. My goal, and the goal of my company, is to help you survive through the first half of this outbreak. That's the word I want to use. Survive through the first half of this outbreak and then position yourself to thrive and accelerate coming out the other side. Lots of good news to get into today, so I'm going to jump right into it and start with the numbers. While the number of cases continues to grow, we went from somewhere just south of 15,000 to 19,000 yesterday. And again, these numbers are as of midnight last night. So about 5,500 new cases. But here's the great number. 1.23 rate of growth. 1.23 rate of growth. That's down from 1.59 yesterday. If you've been watching throughout the week, or if you have heard somebody else talk about this, these types of things don't exist on an infinite hockey stick type exponential growth curve. They happen on a logistics curve. It's kind of like a flat S. And on that curve is a point called the inflection point, where the rate of growth drops below 1. Well, now we've had 4 consecutive days where the rate of growth has decreased. Now, this doesn't mean that we're there yet, but it's definitely an indication that things are moving in the right direction. Last night, I wrote a post, put it up in the Facebook group, which, by the way, if you happen to not be watching on Facebook, the Facebook group is Small Businesses Fight COVID-19. Join that group, get updates. The easy way to find it is just go to my website, thomrigsby.com/corona or COVID or COVID-19 or coronavirus or any of those. thomrigsby.com/corona. Get you to the right place. You can join the group, get these updates. You also get a lot of great information from my partners that are working on putting all this information together and supporting that group. We have sales, we have marketing, we have HR data and information updates going on in there. So lots of good stuff going on there. So that's the first bit of really good news, is that the rate of growth continues to decrease. Hey, Keith, good to see you here this morning. We have a check-in from our UK contingent. Keith has been giving me updates about what's going on there, and I definitely appreciate those. And you guys are in our thoughts and prayers, as well as everyone is. As is popular to say, but it's something that we believe here all the time. We're all in this together. All right, second bit of good news. If for some people, I am presently located in North Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, and we've been reporting that the state is approaching a disaster declaration. They haven't gotten there yet. Well, they still haven't gotten there. But some of the states around us, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida specifically, do have their COVID disaster declaration. And if you or your business is in a county that borders one of those states, you can apply now. So specifically for us here in North Alabama, Lauderdale, Limestone, Madison, Jackson County, you can all apply now. So keep an eye out on that. I put the there it is, right there. I put the link down there in the bottom third, sba.gov/disaster. You can go there and check and see if your county, whether you're in Alabama or not, this is nationwide. Go find your state. It will give you a list of counties, whether it's available for you to apply. Now, this is, I talked about this a little bit during the week. This is direct lending disaster assistance from the SBA. You apply, and you know, there's an application process. They do look at your application, make sure that you're a good risk. If they loan you funds, then those funds, they'll give you the amount and the term and all that based on the damage that you've incurred. Yeah, we had LD on, LD Ralph from the Alabama office, deputy director in the Alabama office, the SBA. He talked with us a little bit about it Wednesday. We'll try to get him on again next week, get an update what's going on there. Now, these are the loans, right? This is a two-part deal. These are the loans that will help you cover your cost, if you're a business owner, cover your cost of, among other things, keeping the lights on, paying the rent, paying payroll, and paying the unfunded requirements that you now have to pay for sick leave for your employees. So that's how these two things kind of go hand in hand. The Families First Act passed Congress this week, put into place rules where you now have to pay sick leave, some other things. We have a recap of that in the group. If you haven't seen that already, go check that out. I won't recap everything here, but those are the new rules. And it applies to every employer with 500 or less, 500 or fewer employees. So if you've got one employee, that's you. So how do you pay for that? These SBA funds. So there is also the last piece of news is with this $1,000 check. I mean, and that's just kind of the title that that's been adopted for it as it's moving along. There is work going on in Congress. We don't know where that is. It's not really. It's definitely still in the debate stages. We're waiting to find out what that looks like, but it looks like it's going to be around. These are, as of last night, these are the numbers they're tossing around. $1,200 per adult and $500 per child for every household. How they're going to do it, we don't know that yet. Whether those are the final numbers or not, we don't know that yet. But there is a stimulus coming. Now, let me give you my as my daughter would call it, my drugstore economist take on this, right? The value here, the reason that this is great is because it puts money in the hands of people who can spend it right away. And we need people spending money, right? As business owners, we need people to come buy our stuff. So we want them to have the money to come and do that. If we were in a position where it had to be give me money so I can keep paying my employees or give everybody a little bit of money, I can see the argument where I would want to take that and be able to keep my business going. But you have that already. We talked about that in the form of this direct lending from the Small Business Administration. So all of these things are working together. You have to look at this in totality, right? Now, one final thought before I go. At some point, we are going to reach this inflection point I was talking about earlier. There's an artificial limit that's been put on that with a lot of these stay-at-home orders, restaurants closed down orders, kinds of things, that stretches out, pushes out to around April 5th, right? We need to be ready as business owners and leaders. We need to be ready to put our foot back on the gas as soon as we hit that inflection point. There's a little bit of art here and kind of gently tapping the gas and kind of feathering it to make sure that this artificial ceiling that's put on it is met also. If the numbers keep moving in the direction that they're moving right now, we're going to reach the numerical inflection point before we reach the societal inflection point. And we always knew that was going to happen a little bit, or cultural inflection point. We always knew that would happen a little bit, that we could see in the numbers that things were moving in the right direction before everybody else kind of believed it. But now with some of these rules, we have to be careful in how we plan that. So that's something that we're going to start talking about as we continue working our way toward that inflection point. It will occur. It has to. It's math. It's going to occur. Earlier this week, I just kind of laid the math out and why we know that the math is going to work. If the rate of doubling held true to 100% of the population, eventually everybody would have it, and that eventually date would be the first week in May. Right? So we have a fairly finite timeline that we're talking about. So keep tuning in every day. Get the updates here. Yeah, I know I touched my face. I'm not that worried about that. Wow, 12 weeks until we peak in the UK. Keith, I'm going to do, I'll tell you what I'll do. Today, I'll run the numbers for UK the same way that I have run them for the US and do a chart up for you. So you can start looking at that as well. I've done it. I don't have it easily where I can show you, but yesterday I did a comparison. I made a post in the group that compared the curve that the kind of the four top countries are on: China, South Korea, U.S., and Italy, just for comparison purposes. And by and I normalize that for population, right? So it's a cases per million graph, so we can see, kind of compare apples to apples in this thing and see where we are compared to these other groups and other populations. The other thing that's kind of funny about it is, the UK tends to be a little isolated because you're an island for the most part, right? But generally, otherwise, these national borders are just arbitrary lines on a map. The air doesn't know the difference, and the air is what's carrying this thing. So this have to be, we've got to have some unit of measure and some segmentation, so that's as good as any. But Keith, I'll run those for you. I'll either send them to you directly or post them in the group. Either one could work. Hey, Nestor, good to have you here this morning as well. All right, that's it for today. We'll keep it a little bit shorter today. It was almost 20 minutes yesterday. If you have specific questions or topics that you would like for us to hit, whether it's HR, marketing, sales, legal, any of those topics, accounting, SBA, I'm going to get LD back here. Get LD back next week to talk about kind of what's going on with the SBA, get an update from there. One other piece of news. Beginning Monday, this daily update will be going out on the radio here in Huntsville anyway, WTKIradio.com or WTKI 1450 AM 1053 FM. So, all right, Catherine has a question. I'll take a sip of coffee and enjoy my coffee to give her just a moment to type her question out so that I can try to answer it before I go. I'm delaying as long as I can to give you the best opportunity to type. Look, I also know, because we're multi-streaming here out to lots of different platforms, that there's some lag, and I know that I have a little bit of difficulty in getting comments back live out of the group. But I do go into the group and reply to all those, and if you don't, apologize if I don't get to your comment directly, but it's definitely not for lack of interest or lack of trying. All right, so Catherine asked, that's a good question. Why did Alabama say that businesses didn't have to adhere to the 10-person limit? So the 10-person limit is you can't have gatherings of 10 people or more, right? This whole social distancing thing. But they also put this rule in place that you need kind of 6 feet, good 2 arms distance between people. If you can maintain that spacing, then it's arbitrary, but it's better than being right up in each other's business. The reason that the reason that we've kind of waived that requirement for businesses is that it would otherwise close all businesses. and we need business to be open. Now, what I've worked with most of my clients on is creating a plan where we can maintain that 6 foot limit and maintain. We actually were working toward a 25 person limit, but this actually helped pretty well. No more than 25 people kind of in a confined space. And, you know, some of the things that we talked about, thought about, had ready to put in place were splitting shifts where they were only, you know, if they were only like a daytime manufacturing business and you got an assembly line, you might have to split that up into 2 shifts and go every other position so you can maintain that spacing, still get the work done, right? We need commerce to continue. And, you know, restaurants, bars, movie theaters, those are all places where it's easy for a lot of people to get in close quarters, and that would, you know, make it spread faster. When you're in a manufacturing facility, lots of open space, good ventilation, less likely. When you're in an office environment, you do need to be taking a lot of these precautions. That's why we've been encouraging people to work from home, work remotely. Just reduce the density. We've talked about this during the week. We want to reduce the density of people in close proximity to one another. Yes, Keith. And this has been kind of a state-by-state thing here in the States. California and now New York have both issued just blanket stay-at-home orders for the whole state. Other states that are less impacted have been less restrictive. But here in Alabama, I think it was Thursday at 5 p.m., all the dining rooms of restaurants closed. So you can't use your dining room, but you can still be open for takeout or drive-through or curbside or delivery or anything like that. You just can't have people in the dining room. Bars, blanket closed, and beaches. Beaches were the other thing here in Alabama that were closed, mainly because a lot of spring breakers were not heeding the warning to not congregate. So they just closed the beach to keep them from doing that. All right. Listen, if you have any other questions, be sure and leave them in the comments. You can always send me a direct message, and you can always call me as well. If you need help putting together a plan to figure out how you're going to survive through the first half, thrive out of the second half, call me. We've got some deferred payment plans available. We'll work with you. We'll do everything we can to get through this together, to get to the point of survival and then get to the point of thriving beyond that. No, Catherine, I did not see the link that you shared for delivery insurance. Did you share that in the group? Is that where you posted that link? We'll see. Just, vamping here for a minute. But if you have a need, if you have a question, you can DM me. You can leave a comment in the group. You can leave a comment on my page. Listen, if you are watching, and I'll give Catherine just a minute to type there. If you're watching somewhere other than Facebook Live, say on YouTube, LinkedIn, anywhere like that, be sure and come back over to the group. ThomRigsby.com/Corona gets you to the right place. In fact, I'll even put that in the comments here. We'll see if this works. There you go. Okay. Well, I'll go look it up, Catherine, and take a look at that, comment on it tomorrow if necessary. We'll be doing a show tomorrow, so be sure and tune in for that or for the replay. Either way, as long as you get the information, that's what matters. You guys stay safe, wash your hands, do the things you need to do to survive so that on the flip side, on the other side of this inflection point, we can all thrive together. All right, that's it for today. You guys have a great Saturday. Talk to you in the morning.